What up, homies? It's your boy, Stev. So listen, last week, my boy Derek talked a lot of shit about Christopher Nolan. So me and Ashley, we decided to get together, show the recent Oscar winner some love. This week, we're talking the Dark Knight trilogy.
I don't know. I kind of saw one has. There's probably one of three of the best endings ever in history for movies.
Yeah.
Saw one the first time I ever saw it.
It blew my fucking mind.
It fucking blew me away. That's the only time I've ever clapped in a movie theater.
Was Saw on the list?
No.
I don't think it was.
Why would Saw be? It's not that good.
It's pretty good. The first
Well,
Saw
it's
movie's
good, but it's not like the best in the world.
It's true.
The Mist is another ending.
It's a great ending.
Oh my god, I cried and I cried and I cried. And I don't remember the. I'm trying to think of other ones. There's so many though where I'm like, oh, that was a good. Oh, The Fall. With the two girls in the tower.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I did not expect that. You think you know what the ending is, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
oops.
I'll check it out.
No. Are you afraid of heights?
Yeah.
Don't.
Not really.
Because there's like a lot of first person, like of you looking over, and it does make your stomach a little queasy.
Okay, I'll make sure I watch it on the big screen.
Anyways, yes, we are not watching.
We're not watching Saw. We are actually watching a very different movie. Nothing to do with horror. Really, though. I mean, that's not true. You know what? Not that much different, weirdly. It is about
different.
A vigilante
Stop.
that takes out bad people.
Oh, my God.
We are watching the Dark Knight trilogy.
Bum, bum, bum.
Ba, 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 ba. So that's the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Batman Begins, Dark Knight,
And the Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, which I was going to say while I was watching the Dark Knight Rises this time, I fucking hate that title. I don't know why. I hate the title, The Dark Knight Rises. I think Batman Begins is it's so generic. It screams like studio, but you're like, all right, it's the first movie. You know what I mean? Christopher Nolan's not a big director at this point. The Dark Knight is a fucking bomb title. It's like, fuck yeah. Why not call it The Dark Knight Returns? Or like...
I guess.
Something to do with Dawn, because they in The Dark Knight, they reference a lot of like, oh, it's always darkest before the dawn. You know, maybe something like that.
I've always read that there wasn't supposed to be a second or third one. The Joker card was always written in it, but there wasn't supposed to be a second one.
Yeah, it was more of like just a generic.
Just
like,
a one and done. Because he didn't want to, which I think all listeners can agree that you can't compete with Jack Nicholson.
It's true.
So once there's somebody who does something so iconic, for example, for me, it's the Riddler.
Okay.
There could never be another Riddler.
Are you talking about like the
Jim Carrey. Like, you're joking. He is the Riddler.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, for him to make another Joker, he was like, there's no fucking way. And then the butler,
Alfred. So Michael Caine.
said he wasn't doing it until he heard Heath Ledger was hired, and then he immediately signed on. I thought that was really interesting, too.
I find that interesting as well. I remember when Heath Ledger signed on. Everybody was excited for this movie. Everybody, you know what I mean? The Joker card at the end. Everybody's like, ooh, the Joker's coming. That's pretty cool. Especially, because
then he did the Prestige in the middle.
He does
which fucked up everybody, which is a fantastic, that's a good ending.
That's a pretty good
Speaking of good endings, that's if you haven't seen Prestige, but it was on our list.
Yes,
that
was
love
on our
that
list.
movie.
So, every Batman movie, he does one in between. He does.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he does Batman Begins. Then he does
Was Inception between Dark Knight Rises?
Yes.
Because of the snowy scene, I can feel that.
You could tell. So yeah, and then he goes and
That's
does
a good
Dunkirk after that.
fucking movie too.
He does Interstellar after that.
I still don't know the ending to that movie yet, Inception.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Everybody argues it all the time still.
I thought they clarified it. I thought it was obvious.
That's what I thought too, and then everyone keeps going back and forth about it. Anyways, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty
Inception, not Inception, Interstellar, I had to watch twice because you're just so lost at the end.
I like it. I think it's pretty good.
Oh my God, like what is happening?
What makes you more lost at the end, Interstellar or Tenet?
Fuck, Tenet. I still don't. I told someone I watched it 'cause we were talking about it at work, and I'm like, we're talking about Christopher Nolan, and she's hardcore nerdy with movies, so we're talking about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah.
And then I brought up Christopher Nolan, and we're talking about Tenet. She's like, I never heard of it. What is it about? And I literally stood there cutting toast at work, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I can give you an idea, but like, Allison, I don't.
It's about time travel, kind
And
of.
I even said, like, I paused and asked my brother what is happening, and he described it, and I still don't know what the fuck is going on. So there you go. Tenet was an okay movie. I will never watch it again.
Here's the thing. I've watched it probably 3 or 4 times, and every time I watch it, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck this movie's about. It baffles me that somebody signed off on this as like, yep, that's a perfect final draft. Like, let's make this movie. Here's $200 million. Like that. It
But
fucking
I do like
flabbergasted.
We were watching it, and the guys ran into 2 different rooms, and then you were like, oh, that's very interesting. And I went, what? That one's blue and one's red.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah. And I found out later, oh, that is interesting. Because he was going to encounter himself.
Yeah,
It would have been the opposite.
there's a lot of weird, like there's a lot of like attention to detail moments where you're like, oh shit, I didn't notice that the first time. But
Then you have to watch it 4 times.
yeah,
And I'm not doing that.
I agree.
Anyways,
I have watched it 3 or 4 times. Like I said, it's a fucking mess. It's literally gibberish.
yeah.
But I enjoy it.
I will say Christopher, Pattinson was
He's
amazing
great.
in this.
He's fantastic.
Because I've only ever seen him as Twilight. And he's so like, meh. I don't
No,
know.
he's good. When he's charming, he's great.
I don't like him in Twilight. He's just so like,
No, he's the worst in Twilight, which was, yeah.
I don't know. But him in this movie, I was like, oh, he's very like smart.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very good looking man when he has the suit and everything and the personality.
He's a great actor, actually.
Even Memento, though, he really went like fucking,
Are you talking about Christopher Nolan?
yeah, backwards.
Yeah, here's the thing. I will say that, like, he loves to play with time. That's, like, his fucking bread and butter. So, like, Inception kind of plays with time in the sense that, like...
Yeah, you're in a dream and a dream and a dream and a dream, but this one's going faster than this one, and this one is, and it's like
100%. And then, like, Memento, like you said, the whole movie's backwards, so it's pretty cool. And then even, like, Batman Begins, for example, it's kind of all over the place. So we'll get into that when we talk about Batman Begins straight. But, like, it's not linear. It starts out with him as a little boy,
right,
and then it cuts to him in prison, and then it cuts back to him as, like, a teenager. So, like, you're kind of all over the place. The Dark Knight might be the first movie, except for maybe Insomnia, because he does Insomnia. I think it's his 3rd movie. He does Following, Memento, and then Insomnia. I want to say maybe Insomnia might be his first movie that's like completely linear. And then he does and then even like The Prestige, it's all over the place. Like time.
It is because he's like going to see him at the show, and then it's going back and forth.
And as much as I think Tenet is a fucking mess when it comes to like timeline and shit,
it's pretty straight.
Dunkirk. He did a World War II movie after Interstellar called Dunkirk. And he did this weird thing where it's like they explain it in the first little bit and you're like, what? And it's as you're watching it, it gets really hard. But once it's over, you kind of understand. But it's like, okay, so the movie takes place. The movie, what it's about is a group of soldiers that are on a beach. And they're surrounded by enemy troops, and they have like this little town which is connected to a beach, and they're fucking dead. They're like done. You know what I mean? Like, so there's probably like 300 soldiers on this beach, and what it's about is, there's a group of people that have launched boats to get them off the beach, and there's a group of planes that are coming to protect them while they get on the boats. So there's really 3 stories. There's the beach, there's the boats, and then there's the planes. And so the beach takes place over the course of 1 week. The boats take place over the course of 1 day.
God.
And the planes take place over the course of 1 hour. And they cut between them though regularly. But it's like you have to have that in your mind that this thing. So it's like you'll see a character like in the boat section, like he's like almost like a main character. And then you see him though on the beach section, but it's way before. Like it takes place way before.
So
because
people are like still alive when they're not.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's like
they're not in the boat, but they, because they died on the beach.
So like, so for the example in the movie, so actually Cillian Murphy, who plays Oppenheimer in like the newest movie, he also plays Scarecrow in the Batman trilogy. He's in the movie. So the first time you see him, he's on a sinking boat, like a tanker. And it's like there's like just this corner that's sticking out of the water. And he's sitting on it. And he's the last man standing. Everybody else died. So this boat comes and the boat's like, hey man, like, you okay? And he's like having a meltdown because everybody just died. They're like, just get on the boat. And it's like, all right, cool. So he jumps in the water, gets on the boat. And then about a half an hour later in the movie, the main characters are trying to get onto a tanker. And then Cillian Murphy walks out. And he's like, hey, there's a lot of tankers. So but it takes place before the tanker blew up. You see what I'm saying? So it's like
he has no idea.
He has no idea it's coming. Yeah. So it's like, but there's a lot of like that.
Okay.
And I recommend the movie. It's very good, but the time thing is really hard to follow at some points. Like,
but at least they told you.
They tell you right off the bat. They're like, it just says beach 1 week, and then it cuts to boats, and then 1 day. And then the plane, 1 hour.
Thank God
That's all they say.
That was nice of them.
Yeah, so it's good. And then like Tom Hardy plays the main character in the plane section.
He loves Tom Hardy.
Oh, he's fantastic though. I don't blame him.
Him as Bane though was
It's
sick.
fantastic, which we will talk about obviously when we get to
huge.
Rises, but
I keep forgetting how big he is till I watch it. I'm like, holy fuck, look at him.
Yeah.
And he's sitting like in when you first see him, he's sitting on the ground.
He's just beefy.
With his back to you,
and then,
you're
the
like,
scar on his back and shit.
He is so huge.
He's such a cool character. I think he's a great character. Like a lot of people make fun of his voice and shit. I think it's such an interesting choice. Like, he's interesting anyway. And like, I think it's very smart because they had to top the Joker. And the Joker. So Heath Ledger, he dies after the movie comes out. He wins a posthumous Oscar for the movie, which I think he deserved.
So do I.
And
I think he would have won it.
I think he would have won it as well. And then it becomes after that, like, well, how do you top that? What villain can top that? And I remember the studio was all over Nolan. No, we want the Riddler and we want the Penguin. Like those that we like, and it's like they kept saying Riddler, Penguin,
no.
And Nolan was like, no, I'm gonna do Bane. And everybody's like, Bane? Like, what a weird choice. And then I remember that first image came out, and it was of him sitting on the chair, but he's like looking over his shoulder. And
that's
you
what
can
the
see
scene
mask.
I'm talking about.
And it's like such a fucking. I remember that was the first image that came out, and it was like, oh fuck, this looks cool. Like
Did
this.
He
looks
always have
awesome.
that.
Yeah,
Bane. He always has that mouth thing.
Like in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
No. So in the comics, it's the same idea. Except instead of like a painkiller, it's like it's called venom, and they pump it right into the back of his head. It's like it's like a tube that comes out of the back of his head, and it's like a drug that makes him stronger. It's like a steroid.
Oh.
So they changed it a little bit, but it's kind of the same idea where it's like it's something that's pumping all the time into his body to make him stronger. But it's an antibiotic. Where
Do
it's
you know how Batman then defeated him in the comics?
Yeah, he just ripped the cord out of the back of his head.
But it's not a... Okay.
So it's like a cord. It's like almost like an IV that's at the back of his head.
How is that going to stop him? It's still just...
Well, it pulls the venom out and like he starts getting weaker and then you fight him. Here's the thing, actually. So in the comic books, Bane shows up and so you know how he like... see, we're getting into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to fucking work.
It's okay. We can talk about it again.
He hurts Batman pretty bad in The Dark Knight Rises. In the comics, that's from the comics. So
okay.
Bane, his backstory in the comics is pretty much the same, where it's like he grew up in a prison. He was serving his parents' sentence. His parents were so bad that he was born in the prison and he had to serve the rest of their sentence. And his whole thing was...
What a shitty fucking thing.
Right? And his whole thing was he started having dreams of this bat monster, this bat creature. And like every night he had dreams and dreams and dreams. And then all of a sudden somebody enters the prison and they start talking about the Batman. oh, I got beat by the Batman. And as soon as he hears about this mythical Batman, he starts to attribute his dreams to the Batman. And like, oh, I was destined to beat him. So he like, and the thing about Bane is he grew up in this prison, so he's fucking massive, but he's a genius. He's like super, super fucking intelligent.
Yeah.
But he had to be huge to survive. So he breaks out of prison, goes to Gotham City. He finds out who Batman is.
Oh my God.
And this is in the comics. He's the only person, he's only one of two to find out who Batman is. And the second one, I think, was told.
Gordon doesn't even know.
Gordon doesn't even know. Yeah. So, I mean, of like the big bads. He finds out who Batman is, waits for him in the Batcave to come home, and then he attacks him and breaks his back.
Holy fuck.
In the comics. That's like, so it's called the Nightfall storyline. So breaks his back, puts him out of commission, and then there's a whole thing about who should take over. And Dick Grayson, who's like the first Robin, is obviously of the opinion that like I should be Batman. But instead he gives it to some nobody. This guy named, I don't remember his fucking name, but it's Azrael is like his superhero name. Gives it to him instead. And there's a big fallout between Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne over it. And Bruce Wayne eventually says, like, I was afraid to give it to you. It's not that I don't think you could be Batman. It's this guy fucking demolished me. And I'd rather him demolish somebody I don't care about next.
Instead of someone I love.
Instead of somebody I love. Exactly. So like, and that's kind of what that's about. And then eventually, of course, Batman does get fixed up and he challenges Bane to another fight and he wins. And like, that's what that whole storyline's about. So, and I love it too, because Bane's always like, you know what? I beat you once. You beat me once. We're good. Like I don't have to fight.
Really?
I don't have to fight you anymore. I feel good. And like, so like they team up every now and again, but for the most part after that, he's just a mercenary. If he goes after Batman, it's because he's paid to, or like he's, paid to do something. That's like, so Bane's always been kind of just a big fucking guy. And like the whole Venom thing, just to make him stronger. And usually a lot of storylines have to do with like that being a drug in the city, like Venom, and like him working with like drug dealers and shit for that. But
try not to forget, but I don't forget what happens to Bane at the end.
Of the movie?
Don't forget.
We'll talk.
Spoilers.
We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
And don't forget to talk about Joseph Gordon-Levitt too.
Oh, so
Don't
yeah.
forget to
Oh,
talk
trust
about
me.
that.
We're talking about Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that
I'm
fucking
gonna
movie.
fucking forget.
Okay.
Anyway, so we can start now.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
I
So
actually did not know anything about that, so I'm very happy that.
Awesome.
Thank you for the lesson. I appreciate that.
No
Because
problem.
I collected comic books for a minute. You think I would have read them? The only comic I've ever really read was Marvel Zombies, and I still have
That's a
all
good
those
comic.
comics.
I like Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really cool. But I never really read any Batman ones. I'm happy to finally actually hear it because I thought Bane was the same in the comics. So it's really cool to learn that he wasn't.
So yeah, not exactly the same. And the mask, where it comes from, is Bane does wear a mask, but Bane is Spanish in the comics, so it's more of like a luchador mask,
Okay.
like a wrestling mask. So picture like it's almost like the opposite of Bane's mask. So everything that would be like a mask on Bane is, so it's a full mask in the comics, and all that's white, and the rest of it's black. So it's like a full mask.
Okay.
To like hide his face. I don't know why, but so it's kind of a cool. It was a cool take. I'm like, this is an interesting take.
I like him in this movie. He looks terrifying.
He's
when he's
intimidating.
like in the movie because he says, "Nobody cared about who I was until I put on the mask."
Oh yeah,
And it's so true because when you see him, you're like, "You're a scary motherfucker."
the best fucking scene, and it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I won't say who it is. But like, there's a guy who walks in the room and pretty much tells Bane like, "The fuck are you doing?" Like without swearing, but he's like, "You fucking idiot!" Like what the fuck? And then Bane puts his I just blew my fucking mic out. He like places his hand, like the back of his hand, on his shoulder, and the guy just stops talking, and then he's like, "I've given you a small fortune." And he's like, and that gives you power over me? And then he just fucking kills him. And it's like, oh, shit. But, like, that scene, when he puts the hand and the guy just stops talking and he starts, like, shaking a little bit, it's like the most intimidating. There's a scene in the movie. There's a movie that called Widows that came out about a couple years ago. And there's a scene where, so it's, like, about, like, a drug house that got robbed. And the two guys that were watching the drugs, they're like sitting there and they're all like scared. And the lead enforcer of this mob boss walks in, and he's like, "What were you doing while you were supposed to be watching my drugs?" And he's like, "Oh, we were rapping or something." And he's like, "Well, rap for me then." And the guy starts one starts doing the beatbox, and the other one starts like rapping off the top of his head. But the enforcer like gets right up in his face and like won't break eye contact. And the guy keeps trying to look away, but he keeps like moving with him, and he refuses to break eye contact. And it is so intimidating. And that's what this reminds me of. It's like the Bane, like, oh, like,
Yeah.
he's so scary and he's so big. But
And that gives you power over me?
yeah,
Like,
I love the way he says it.
Yeah.
That gives you power over me.
And especially in his voice.
Yeah.
I remember watching this in the theater, and I remember asking you all the time, like, I don't know what he said. What did he say? And I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
I could not understand it. It had to be you. Because I would have went to the movies with you
Yeah.
to go see this. And I remember saying, what? And then eventually, halfway through the movie, you were like, do you think you have power? And then you would have just said the sentence because I had no idea what he was saying. Now when I watch it, I go, oh, I can understand it.
Yeah.
But that first time, I'm like, what? It's like the most biggest muffle of all time.
There's a lot of muffles. There's a lot of like,
I
what
wish
the fuck did he
they
just say?
picked something a little more clearer.
I do agree. I agree with that. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Let's talk about
Well, but before we go to individual movies, let's talk about, let's just rate them just real quick. What do you think?
Dude.
See, this one's hard. This
I
one's
never
really hard
actually
for me.
started this with this is one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
I agree.
These movies, Steve was like, let's do the Nolan, podcast. And I'm like, I could do it literally right now. Yeah. I know every detail of every movie because I've seen them so many fucking times.
It's like, I don't even need to prepare yet.
Everyone has that movie where they're like, I would give like my life to watch these movies again.
Yeah.
These would be them for me.
Okay.
Not the first one.
Yeah.
The last two. Something about the first one was an amazing introduction to what was happening.
Yeah, definitely.
It showed you how insane it's going to be, how much money was invested, how awesome this Batman is. It just showed you everything. The last two really kicked it up a notch where you're like, oh, you think this is it. LOL.
Yeah.
And then you put up the last two. I definitely think it's 2, 3, 1. Definitely. Nothing can beat number 2. Number 2 was a masterpiece. Everything about it for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I might go 2, 1, 3, but I don't think that the third one is a bad movie. I think they're all great movies.
You're not gonna put Bane.
I don't know.
Behind the Batman Begins.
I kind of really like.
Nothing was in Batman Begins.
I liked Ra's al Ghul. I thought he was a good villain. I liked the Scarecrow. I thought he was a cool villain.
I do like that one part where he's trapped under the piece of wood, and Alfred's like, "You can't even lift this. What do you do all those push-ups for?" Alfred doesn't even try to help him.
Yeah, really though.
But I don't know.
I don't know.
I like the League of Shadows. I do. Mm-hmm. I definitely think the last two were just better movies.
See, I think the first one and the third one suffer from a problem, which is like, the plan of the villain is almost too comic booky. Which is, it's a comic book movie, so that makes a lot of sense. Whereas, like, the second one, I think, is a little more clever, and it's a little more realistic in it.
The second one, to me, is a movie.
Agreed. Whereas, like, the first and the third one are comic book, or, like, superhero movies.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Whereas, like, the first one's about, like, the microwave emitter. They have to get that. And then the third one's about the nuclear device.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay. And they're doing their own, and I do like, see... The third one's really cool because it's a cool take on No Man's Land. It's like a comic book that they did. But I don't know. I you know what? If you ask me tomorrow, I'll probably have a different. But yeah.
All right, so I'm going with 2, 1, 3.
Anyway, Batman Begins next.
We're in spoilers.
Spoilers. Batman Begins.
I can't do that. Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Spider-Man. Come over the house. We're best friends. It's the stupidest skit.
I remember Simon Pegg, who like is from Shaun of the Dead. They asked him how much he liked The Dark Knight, and he's like, "I thought it was a great movie, except for the Cookie Monster voice." I thought that was
That's fucking funny.
It's perfect though.
So
It's
true.
so true. He does sound like the Cookie Monster.
It's the one part whenever he's talking to her during the third one, and it's like a really serious conversation. He's like, "This is what's gonna happen. So this is what we're gonna do," and then it's like,
Yeah, every person that he talks to in the third. So we'll get to that in the
it
third
gets
one.
to like the point where you're like, "All
It's
right."
like, first of all, like they know who you are. Why the fuck are you?
Catwoman doesn't.
Oh, she didn't. You're right. Until the fight scene. You're right.
Gordon didn't.
Yeah, well, Gordon's a different one, but like,
She didn't know either. Actually, no one knew. Ha ha.
but yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm sorry.
You can cut that out.
Anyway,
Spoilers. You can
spoilers.
start over again.
Batman Begins.
Yeah. I have no notes. I'm just going on to how I feel. Well, I looked up notes and I'm like, whatever.
I didn't really have any notes on this one either, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about, so we were talking about how the movie is non-linear a little bit. So it starts out, Bruce Wayne is a kid and then him in prison, which I totally dig. It's like a nice little touch. Like he's in a I believe it's Chinese prison, fighting criminals for stealing Wayne Enterprise merchandise, which I love. I think it's kind of a funny little bit. I like that. And then we cut to him going to meet Ra's al Ghul, and then he's like, "What are you afraid of?" And then it goes back to his parents dying, and it's like, I like it. I think it works. I think it works very well. The movie, so every movie, I'm not really sure about the third one off the top of my head, but this one especially and the second one, they have like a particular theme that they fucking hammer in. And this one is fear. Everybody says, "Oh, you fear what you don't understand." You know what I mean? Like the Scarecrow's fear toxin. Yeah. He says fear probably 1 billion times. And then same with Ra's al Ghul, or the Ra's al Ghul, whatever his name is. His whole thing is like, what are you afraid of? Because you have to overcome it. Yeah. Shit like that. The second movie's Choice, but we'll talk about that later. Or like, yeah. So,
Chance, you mean?
Choice. Like you have a choice to make between, So, so I think it works as like a movie that's very much about fear. And I love the fact that he like takes what he's afraid of and like overcomes it. And I think makes the Batman. I think, do you think it's, okay, a lot of people point to this as like the first grounded superhero movie. Do you think it works as that?
What does that mean?
Grounded, like it's realistic. Like this could happen in the real world.
I completely think so. He is not a special person.
No.
Because he has way too much money.
Yeah, definitely.
And then he has someone who has his money technically and just nerdy, who's like, "Well, you have money, but I use the rest of your money.
Yeah.
And I make these." And he's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Just because."
That's true. That's a good point.
Because he's like, "Well, I did them for the U.S. forces, but they didn't want to use it because blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
He's like, "So now they're just sitting here."
I love that. Actually, let's talk about that. Morgan Freeman is Lucius Fox. He's in the entire trilogy.
Killed it.
It's fantastic.
Loved it.
I think he's a comic book character too. He's from the comics. Same with like Alfred. Michael Caine is fantastic.
Ugh, I love Michael Caine in this.
But I love how they use Lucius Fox.
I love how smart he is. I love him in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love how they use it.
I definitely agree that this is definitely grounded.
What do you think of the Tumbler as like the Batmobile?
Oh, I fucking love the Tumbler.
It's cool, right?
The motorcycle is much cooler.
Okay, because the cycle doesn't come until the second one.
Yeah, I know, but I do love this one.
I remember when it was first announced that it was going to be like a tank, and it was like, what the fuck? Straight out of a comic book. It's from The Dark Knight Returns, which is often considered one of the greatest Batman comics of all time. So
there is a Dark Knight Returns, but they use Dark Knight Rises. Isn't that funny?
Fuck.
How weird.
Right?
Anyways.
And yeah.
I do like the tank. I love that it drives over cars. I do like that.
Yeah.
I love the certain things on it.
It's cool.
I definitely think all the all the automobiles throughout the whole series is cool.
I agree.
I think they nailed every single one. I'm not a fan. The last one is kind of like a beetle. I'm not a fan of that.
Oh, like the flying?
Yeah, and I hate that it like bends. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But it is still cool. I'll still give it.
It is pretty cool. What did you think of Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul?
I like Liam Neeson.
So here's the thing. So the whole thing with Ra's al Ghul, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, I guess we should have looked up the name before we started this.
A lot of people say it. I like to say Ra's al Ghul. Or
just say
a lot of people say Ra's. I don't know. But his whole thing is in the comics, he's immortal. He he dies, but he doesn't die. He you know what I mean? And we'll bring how he comes back to life in the third movie, because that's a really important thing about the third movie. But he's immortal, and I think it's very clever how they did it in this movie. How it's like, oh, Ra's al Ghul is just a name. It's like the name, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I like that. It's like anybody could be Ra's al Ghul, and I kind of think that's I don't know if they directly say that. I think that they imply it, but I think it's kind of a cool idea because there's I believe Japanese gentleman in the beginning, and then he dies, and then Henry Ducard turns out to be Ra's al Ghul. I think it's kind of cool.
It is cool because later on, you realize the League of Shadows continued.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he lives?
Oh no, he died.
For sure.
Honey P.
So I remember the mountain scene when he catches him.
Yes, and then but the very end is like on the subway train, and he's like, "I don't have to kill you,
right?
But I'm not
well,
gonna
you
save
don't technically know that he dies.
Oh, he's fucking done. But I do like that whole idea because
I love that.
This is the first movie to also.
I can't kill you, but I don't have to save you. I really like that idea, though.
Yeah, I agree. So this is like there's a big rule in Batman has two main rules in the comics. One is he doesn't use guns because that's what killed his parents, and two is he doesn't kill people because he can reform them. Like that's like his whole thing. So, I like that idea where it's like, well, I can't kill you, but I don't really have to save you, and then just fucking pieces. I think it's kind of cool.
Technically, didn't kill him.
I mean, that's an argument
Gordon
there.
killed him, if anything.
It's like technically Gordon was the one who killed him.
Gordon killed him, technically. I love the Scarecrow. I think he did amazing.
I think he's fantastic as Scarecrow, actually. What do you think of Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes in this movie?
She's okay.
I think she's pretty good. I think Maggie Gyllenhaal's better.
Me too.
In The Dark Knight.
I think so too. She's a lot more. I don't mean to say this in anti-feminist way, but Maggie is a damsel in distress.
Oh, you mean Rachel? You mean the other one?
Maggie. I just said Maggie.
Maggie Gyllenhaal. You mean in like in the second movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it is more of a damsel in distress, while Katie Holmes is more, I don't need you.
Okay.
I got this.
That's true.
And I kind of like that they kind of went back and forth in this weird thing with it.
Yeah.
Because I like the damsel better, I need someone to help me. While the first movie, she's like, nope, I'm a reporter. I got this. I can go do fucking anything. I don't have to worry.
Yeah. Is she a reporter? I think she's a lawyer.
Isn't she a reporter?
I think she's a lawyer.
I know she's a lawyer.
She works for the DA, so I'm assuming she's a lawyer.
No, she kept going around asking questions and shit. She had the mic and stuff running around. I know she's a lawyer. That might be a thing, but I'm saying she was also trying to get information on stuff.
I don't know.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
We brought up Scarecrow already. Scarecrow, very cool variation with the suit and the mask. I dig that. I think it's pretty cool.
I like that he has the gas that makes you afraid.
Yeah. So that was always from the comics, the gas, the fear toxin. So that was always a thing. Yeah, I think he's a perfect. I know Cillian Murphy, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He applied to be. He tried out for Batman, and didn't get that role, but he got the Scarecrow role instead, which I think works.
Cillian Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know his name.
I know it starts with a C. It's like Cillian. I believe it's Killian.
Yeah, I do like Scarecrow. Again, I'm not really a fan of League of Legends. Fuck. That's a nerdy game. What are they called?
The League of Shadows.
Shadows. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that whole thing. I mean, it makes sense. That's why he learned how to fight. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. And that's also from the comics. He was taught by Ra's al Ghul to be Batman. Like that's, I don't know about the whole League of Shadows thing, but
And it was all a coincidence that they just found each other?
I'm not really
Did
sure.
you ever take off that second hat?
No, it's still there.
He's wearing a cap backwards and a cap forward, and I just realized that he's still wearing them both. I said this is his new style. He's going to wear it like this in public. Yeah, I'm not really a fan, but I mean, if that makes sense, because how would he be a good fighter?
Yeah, he's got to be trained to be like a ninja, right?
And it makes sense.
I agree.
That whole scene, though, when he's fighting the people, it's cool. Every time he fights people,
It's pretty cool.
he's good.
Yeah, I think it's good. What do we think of Christian Bale's Batman? We should talk about that for a second.
Fuck, I dig it.
Yeah, do you think he's the best Batman?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, he's.
the most realistic, if you ask me. Yeah,
I'm having a hard time with that question because he's my Batman.
definitely.
Just like, is it Tobey Maguire?
Is your Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man.
I agree with that.
Is there a better Spider-Man? Obviously, the new guy is better.
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't
You
know.
think so?
I don't know. It's
What the hell
hard.
is his name?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. I think he is fantastic. I
think
think
he's
he fits
great.
the nerdy personality. I like him because he's like a boyish the age that he's supposed to be.
Definitely.
I think
Tobey Maguire is like a 45-year-old 18.
Tobey Maguire was literally 35.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, like, and he's still like, I don't know. But he is my Spider-Man.
I hear
That's
you.
where I'm having a hard time.
And this is your Batman.
This is my Batman. I do want to,
okay.
I was just thinking when I was sitting here and before we started that I really want to watch the new Batman again with Robert Pattinson.
I just watched it. Yeah.
Because we watched it in the movie theater when it came out.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it since.
Oh, it's pretty good.
And then the ending had like the little tidbit that who was going to be in the next one.
Oh, the Joker
Is it
was
the
another one.
No, it's not the Riddler.
Oh, the Riddler was in this one.
Riddler was in this one. So yeah, it might have been the Joker. Yeah.
It was the Joker, but the Joker actually had a scene in the movie initially.
Who's the guy from the guy with the glasses?
That's the Riddler.
Riddler. He's from I fucking love that movie.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, it was also the villain in There Will Be Blood. But
Yes, I know that because he doesn't talk. No, that's Little Miss Sunshine. He doesn't talk.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I do like. Anyways, how do you like Christian Bale?
I think it's fantastic. I think he's good. I think it's interesting coming off of American Psycho that they're like, oh, that's who we want. And it's funny because like every now and again I'll see him walk around. I'm like, oh, he looks like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Like, it's like, oh, it's almost like that's what they wanted for Bruce Wayne. It's like, you know what I mean?
I
Just
guess.
this egotistical.
He does have like the straight back hair.
Yeah. And he's a great Batman. He's terrible voice. I don't know how they would have changed that. I guess they could have done like a robotic something, but
I do like him dressed up better than like Christian Bale was in another movie. I think it's The Big Short where he was all like in sweatpants and stuff. And it's kind of like I like this version of him with the tux and the suit and he's the boss.
yeah, definitely.
And like I think it's the second one where he walks in the meeting or the third one and the guy's like, you're not a part of this meeting anymore. And he's like, yeah, I bought all your shares. Like I'm in the meeting.
Oh, that's this one.
Yeah. And he's like, fuck you. And I just love that like,
Yeah.
I call it manliness where he walked. He's like, I got
Yeah,
this.
I'm the man. I got this.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So I do like his personality. I love his swag. I think he was a good one.
Yeah. I agree.
I guess Ben Affleck was an okay choice.
I like Ben Affleck as Batman. A lot of people don't. I think he's pretty good.
I think he did really good with Henry. I really did.
I agree. I think
That movie was great.
what he had to work with, I think he did a fucking awesome job. Every time I've seen him, I'm like, you know what? I think he's a cool Batman.
I think so too. And they didn't overplay it.
Yeah.
They did like what, one movie? 2 movies?
They did 2 movies, and then they did a third one. He was in The Flash in the opening scene.
And then that was it, and then it was done. And then Robert Pattinson only had the one.
Yeah, but they're doing a second one for Robert Pattinson
When is that?
next year. That depends. The strike's kind of messing it up, so who knows?
The writer's strike?
And the actor strike at this point.
I didn't know there was an actor strike.
Yep, there's an actor strike too. But Anyway, no. So Batman Begins, like I said, I love it. So the microwave emitter thing is very comic booky.
Okay.
The whole idea where it's like, oh, they put all the fear toxin into the pipes,
Yeah.
and they need something to like. I think it's a cool idea. I'm like, whatever. It's something out of a superhero movie. I'm into it. Like I said, I think they're a little more clever in the second one with making it a little more of a movie. But
I do like, I do like them at the whenever he's like naming. Oh, that's not this one. That's in the third one. Never mind. I was thinking Exile when they're walking on the water, but I'm like, I'm dumb.
Yeah, no,
it's the same actor. Yeah, I got it.
I hear you.
Anyways, this movie's okay. I'm definitely more excited to talk about the other two.
All right, let's move on then. The Dark Knight is next.
Dark Knight.
Spoil. The Dark Knight.
Oh.
The Dark Knight.
Ew. Sound like a dog. I don't know what we're listening to now.
Oh yeah,
it's
the
in
music
between songs.
No, there it is. The music's still going.
Can you still hear it in the headphones?
I can't tell if I could hear it in the headphones or not. That's the problem. I could definitely hear it in the headphones.
If we stop talking.
Yeah, I could definitely hear it.
That's funny.
You know what? You got some background tunes. You just fucking...
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So The Dark Knight.
Our favorite movie.
Yeah. Oh, I actually had one thing that I didn't even bring up about the Batman Begins, if you don't mind.
I do mind.
Why did Rachel follow Jonathan Crane into the basement? After she's like, you're doing illegal stuff and we know and you're going to show me. And he's like, all right. And he like puts the key in and like presses the basement button. And she's so like, yeah. And then like they walk out and you see all the criminals and she's like, what the fuck? And then they fear. It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? Like,
that's a good point.
It's like,
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I just thought about that. As I was watching, I'm like, the fuck was she think? The fuck did she think was going to happen?
I don't know.
Anyway, The Dark Knight Rises. One thing I do... Sorry, not Rises. Bluff. The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
One thing watching it this time that I noticed. I've always been aware, like I've always noticed how much Bruce Wayne he admires Harvey Dent. Excuse me. And he thinks like Harvey Dent is the savior.
It's going to change. Right.
Sorry, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. Harvey Dent is the savior that the city needs. It's going to be Harvey Dent, not Batman. And it wasn't until this time that I realized, like, oh no, like that's a mutual thing. Like Harvey Dent has almost more admiration for Batman.
There's that scene at the dinner table where he's like,
yeah, and he always
says like it's gonna be, he's gonna.
He does say that. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. But there's a scene where I'm trying to remember the exact scene, but like he's even giving himself up for the Batman. You know what I mean? Like he knows the Batman's gonna save him. Like he has a lot of admiration for him. Like and even talking to Gordon and stuff, and like even talking to him, he's like he knows he's not corrupt. He knows he can do a lot. You know what I mean? Right. And then Batman's like, no, I think it's the scene when he's going to kill the guy. When he's not, he keeps like flipping the coin. He knows it's a two-headed coin, but
the schizophrenic guy?
Yeah, and Batman's like, hey, like, what the fuck are you gonna prove with this? Yeah. But there's something about
once you shoot him, then you
you're the villain. Like, and something about their conversation, it's almost like he kind of says like, I can't be you. I need to do something my own way. Kind of, it's like, oh, I like that. He admires what Batman does almost as much as Batman admires, or Bruce Wayne admires what Harvey Dent does.
You would think that the first clue, I guess it's not a clue, but is whenever they're transporting Harvey, and the only way that got out was because Bruce Wayne hit whoever with his car.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, is that not like a hint? Because Gordon was like, isn't that perfect timing?
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne was like, "What, an asshole trying to run a red light?"
Trying to beat the light.
Yeah.
And he's like, but he says, and he's like, why? Who did I save? And then the guy walks out, and it was the guy who was going to rat out Bruce Wayne. And they kind of look at each other. And then Bruce Wayne is very clever, though, because he's like, I should go to the hospital. What do you think? And then Gordon's like, you don't watch the news, do you? Because all the hospitals are going to get blown up.
Shut down.
Yeah. I should go to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
So it's like everything he says is very clever. But
yeah, there were some little things, but I do like that he never told Gordon. That's the third one.
Yeah, he does tell him about the third one. But
I keep wanting to like jump ahead. I gotta just stop that. But I do like the friendship they have with Gordon. I think that's really sweet.
Agreed.
They're like besties on the little rooftop. I think it's cute. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's talk about the Joker. I think Heath Ledger was amazing.
Heath Ledger's very, very good in this movie.
So
I remember when he was announced, and everybody was freaking out about it. Everybody was like why him? 10 Things I Hate About You, like The Knight's Tale, what the fuck kind of thing.
No, Brokeback Mountain was everybody's thing.
And that's true too. And then I remember, remember I was talking about the Bane image. So the first image they released of him was of Heath Ledger as the Joker was, they were showing off the IMAX camera. I remember this was the first movie that I could remember. There has to be a movie before this, but
no,
where they filmed with IMAX cameras.
It's the first one.
Was it? Because I remember they were showing off the IMAX cameras. That was like the big thing. I read about
this. Yeah.
See, that's pretty cool. But I remember that was the first time I ever saw an IMAX camera. So, but you could see Heath Ledger's Joker in the reflection. So there's like, you see the camera and there's like a row of like glass doors or parchment, like some sort of like glass dividers, but you could see Heath Ledger's Joker either as a reflection or it was through the glass, but it was foggy. But that was the first time you saw like the green hair and kind of what his suit would look like. And everybody was like, oh shit, like the fuck is this? And then I remember seeing, so I Am Legend comes out, and I want to say that had to have been an IMAX movie as well, because if you see it in IMAX, they show the opening scene from this movie in front of it. So the whole like bank robbery scene. And I remember seeing that, and it was just like, what the fuck? Like the idea that he's killing everybody, like everybody's killing each other. And I love the guy like, I bet the boss told you to kill me too. And he's like, no, man, I was supposed to kill the bus driver. And he's like,
why would you kill the bus driver?
Yeah, what bus driver? And then the fucking bus, like everything about it is fucking amazing. I love this opening scene. I remember Nolan was like, so this was the first time also where, and I'm sure again this happened before, but this was the first time where Nolan was like, that I've heard anybody talk about when it comes to superhero movies. Oh, I wasn't watching superhero movies. I was watching instead of superhero movies, Nolan was watching Heat. Okay. And movies like that. And it's like, oh, like that opening bank heist scene reminds me of Heat.
Whenever he pulls out and it's when all the school buses are, it's so smart.
It's clever. It's very clever. I love the idea where they run in and they put the grenades in everybody's hands and they pull the pins. It's like, don't fucking let go of it. Like stuff like that. Like, it's so fucking cool. And the idea where it's like you got the big fucking stupidly large safe that's nobody would ever have. It's like, but fuck it, it's cool. Yeah. Like everything about it is just cool. This opening scene is fucking awesome. I love they shoot the thing, the glass, and they shoot across. Everything about it's fucking cool. Okay.
I gotta say, I do love the opening scene of this movie.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's a perfect, okay, so there's ways to introduce characters, and they all have names. I'm trying to remember this one, but there's one where it's like talking about a character and like talking them up before you introduce them. It's almost like setting up a reputation before you set up the character. And this movie is perfect. It immediately, it's like, you know why they call him the Joker, right? It's like, so the first thing you say is like, 5 shares, 6 shares. Don't forget the guy who planned the job. It's like, oh, he thinks you could sit out and collect a share. It's like, well, you know why they call him the Joker, right? And then it cuts to the other two guys. Well, why do they call him the Joker? And he's like, oh, he wears face paint. And it's like, and then even like the guy starts shooting at them, and then he's like, oh no, sorry. It's the safe. He gets zapped, and he's like, why would they wire a fucking safe with electronic vaults? And he's like, it's a mob bank. She's like, I guess this Joker guy's as crazy as he sounds. And it's like they keep doing it. Like, oh, this Joker guy. And then at the very end, he pulls his mask off. He does like the stranger line. You're like, fucking, like, it's such a cool introduction to this character.
I think one of the first introductions you have of him, correct me if I'm wrong in this movie, is him when he's like, do I see a magic trick? And he does
That's later in the movie, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So
I thought you met him.
No.
Yeah, but you didn't meet him till then.
Yeah, so no, the first shot of the movie is, so they shoot, it shows them shoot the line across the roof, and then it shows him on the corner holding the mask, and then the truck pulls up and he puts the mask on and gets in. So they don't realize the Joker is one of the five.
Yeah, but what about after that?
After that, yes, the first scene is, the magic trick. You're correct.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Which, again, it's like, what the fuck is going on? And then the next scene is Gamble, so it's like one of the mob bosses, and he puts like the knife in his mouth, and he does you know how I got these scars? Which I remember, it's genius, because I remember watching this the first time, and I thought it ruined the character a little bit. The second he's like, you know how I got these scars? And he told the story. I was like, oh, man.
But
you shouldn't have fucking said anything. You shouldn't have told me that. I like the fact that I didn't know. And then he does it a second time with a completely different story. And I'm like, it went from dumb to fucking genius instantly. Like one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It's like he's so fucking amazing.
That first story is so fucking dark, where it's like, my dad was drunk and he asked my mom, why are you so serious? And then he walked up to me and he said, why are you so serious? You should put a smile on that face. And just that whole imagery is like, ugh, like that would make him insane.
Yeah. And then even like the one where he's like, and then him and his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife got cut up, so he cuts himself up. Yeah. And then she breaks up with him because she can't look at him.
She can't look at him.
That's also really weirdly sad. It's like,
both stories are fucking
dark. But either way, but yeah. So we talked about Maggie Gyllenhaal a little bit already. Aaron Eckhart, we've talked about it a little bit, but fucking perfect.
I fucking love. We have this conversation because of a movie called Thank You for Smoking, and we talk about just seeing him in that movie. Made it a no fucking brainer.
Yeah,
to make him Aaron Eckhart.
You
need a good looking man with a fucking chin and a strong jawline. That's your guy.
Yeah, super charming, like crazy charming. Yeah. What did do you think they should have killed them off? What do you think? Like Two-Face?
Didn't they?
Yeah. Do you think they should have?
Oh, I was like, what are you watching? Yeah.
See, I don't. I feel like it would have been as much as, I don't know, but maybe the problem is I don't think it would have been a complete movie. I think, I don't know why, this is also hindsight and everything that happened. I kind of feel like that scene where he's like, Dent, I thought you were, like, after he gets out of the hospital and his face is all messed up, he goes to the bar. And the cop's like, Dent, I thought you were dead. And then he's like, half dead. I don't know why. I think that's how the movie should have ended. I just like, and I did not think they were going to kill him off. I thought that's how it was going to end.
Oh.
And they got I don't think they didn't get the Joker by that point, but if they would have gotten the Joker by that point and then had it end like that, I think it would have been a fine ending. It sets up a villain for later. I don't think you needed the ending with... They must have had a plan for the third movie. You know what I mean?
And it didn't execute?
Because of Heath Ledger. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, there's something about the way it ends where it's like... I think it's very interesting that you make it so Batman's the villain for the third movie.
That's a good point.
And they couldn't execute it.
Well, they couldn't have executed anything else because Heath Ledger was there when he was caught.
and that's it, right? So
what would they have done, right?
I don't know.
And I understand there is no ending to the Joker. There really
Yeah.
isn't to this minute.
I would have been happy with like what they did, with just like, oh, he's in Arkham Asylum somewhere. He's just.
But so was Scarecrow.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like this weird of all these villains could have came back in the third one, and it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But now you killed off Two-Face. The other one, unfortunately, is dead. So it's like you have nobody except for Scarecrow left. Here you go. Have your, your moment.
I feel like we could have done more with Two-Face. That's my only issue.
I definitely don't know enough about Two-Face. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. Like, nothing about the comics, but like, and I'm happy. Weirdly, I am happy. Like, I don't know. See, I'm on the fence, right? Like, I know I'm saying it should have ended.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it would have been as good a movie. I think it's a very complete movie. You killed Harvey Dent. The whole movie was about how if Harvey Dent falls, we're fucked.
Yeah.
But I think him killing the cop in the bar could have illustrated that point. He's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's the villain now. Like, I think you could have gotten the same point across, but it doesn't matter. It's still a complete. I think it's more of a complete movie this way. Harvey Dent dies. The Joker's in Arkham.
I'm trying to think if it mattered if the Batman was the villain in the third one. It didn't matter.
No, not really. They make Harvey Dent Day.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because Harvey Dent's the hero still.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the movie?
And because they say like, they make like a holiday based around Harvey Dent because he was killed by the Batman, and Batman's never been seen since.
Yes, but what I'm saying is,
Doesn't matter?
They took that out. What does that change the movie in any way?
You really could. I mean, it doesn't. Really.
Like, so that whole thing could have been avoided.
Oh. But not really. Okay, the only thing that it changes is. Yeah, well, I mean, they couldn't have made Dent Day because
Right.
Because Harvey Dent would still be running around,
Yeah.
so obviously he's the bad guy. But they could have made anything else. Like, and the thing that's great about Dent Day is they made it easier to lock up people involved in organized crime. So Blackgate Prison was full of people that were locked up because of the Dent Act. So when Bane reads Gordon's, we're really getting to the third movie at this point, but when he reads Gordon's thing, his I guess
eulogy, or not really a eulogy, but
yeah, you know what I'm saying, his confession that like, no, Harvey Dent tried to kill my son and like Batman saved me. He's pretty much saying like, these guys in prison aren't supposed to be in prison. Like, you guys are worshiping a fake fucking idol. Let's release them. So it's almost like it makes the people in prison more pissed because Dent was actually as bad as they are. You see what I'm saying?
And that's why the people turned.
But I don't think so, because you could have done that story anyway. That story is so going to, we're talking about like people watching movies instead of superhero movies to make I don't know. Sorry. Like he watched Heat for this one. The third one is very much a tale of two cities. It's like it's very much about like class structure, like class warfare, I guess. Like there's the rich and then there's the poor.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most interesting thing about The Dark Knight Rises. But we'll get into that after the fact. But anyway, so earlier I said that the first movie talks a lot about fear.
Yeah.
This one's very much about choice.
Yeah.
And it's very much about like
the two ships, the two boats.
Yeah. You have to go to two different locations, pick heads or tails. He says it quite a bit. He also talks about what's fair. That seems to be like Harvey Dent's thing. It's like fate. And whereas Joker's thing is chaos, right? It's almost like contradictory things. But
I do like that this is the first time that we saw Batman beat, and it wasn't strength, but it was smart.
Agreed.
It was, he had no idea what to do at any point because he's like, I don't know what the Joker's doing. He's always a step ahead and 2 steps behind, but also 2 steps to the left.
Well, that's
and he's always going around Batman over and over.
And that's what's super interesting about the Joker is that idea where it's like, with most criminals, you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to do anything for what's in their best interest. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to do anything unless it makes them money.
Right.
Right? Or, you know what I mean? Or gets them revenge or whatever whatever their goal is. So that makes them predictable. you can predict what they're going to do next because of that. Whereas the Joker, his whole point is I'm fucking literally chaos. Like, you can't predict what I'm going to do next because I don't even know what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
Although I think he does. I think he's way smarter than he lets on. But I don't know. I think the Joker's fantastic in this movie. I think it's a super well written movie. Yeah, I think it's good.
So do I. I love this movie. And I know we keep jumping back and forth to this and Dark Knight Rises, but I do love this movie. I definitely would have liked to see what would have come out for the Joker. I do like Joaquin Phoenix as the next one.
Yeah.
I think he is equally as creepy and insane.
Agreed. So that wasn't actually the next one. The next one is Jared Leto's Joker in the Suicide Squad.
Oh, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's okay.
That Jared, no, I love Jared Leto. Don't think I don't.
Yeah.
It's that whole, like, he's rich with an ego.
Yeah.
And he's a boss. Like, it's kind of like, ooh.
Yeah, he's like a mob boss almost. Which I don't mind Joker mob boss. I think it's kind of cool. But I will say, going back to Joaquin Phoenix, when he walks out of the fucking apartment and he's got like the red suit and the green hair and the clown makeup on, it's like, oh shit.
He's
like,
fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's like he's a fucking, oh boy.
And then it's him like sitting in the dressing room with no shirt on and it's just a spine.
Yeah.
And that's real. The fact that like he lost that much weight.
Yeah.
It's like, like, so I do love that people have respect in order to continue the chaos.
Apparently he was super unpredictable too during that movie. Like, I was just listening to a podcast with somebody who was on the set, and like, every take was different. Every take he would do shit, and some of the shit he would do would physically hurt him. Like, there's a scene where he like just punches a clock. Was not in the script. He just decided to punch this clock to the point where the director's like, "Did you just fucking break your hand, dude? Like, just fucking holy shit!" And like, I think there's one, and I don't remember if it's a kid or somebody, but he like pretends to kill himself. It's like you put your fingers.
Yeah.
And then he like falls completely back and hits the ground again. Not like everybody's like, "Holy shit!"
Oh my god!
Like, just dedication to the role, right?
Isn't that Joaquin Phoenix that like beat the fuck out of himself in a hotel room? What movie is that? Where he like punches the mirror and shit?
I think that was
and he really hurts himself?
Channing Tatum in the movie.
I definitely don't think it was Channing Tatum.
I believe it was Channing Tatum in the movie Fox. What the fuck was that movie called? With Steve Carell. It was a really good movie.
But there was that one scene where he just goes fucking
I'm
insane.
Positive
and he like shattered his hand and he cut open everywhere and he's bleeding and you're like, holy fuck.
I don't know what the fuck that movie's called. But it's about a wrestling team.
But it's like one of those, like, it's that scene with Batman and the Joker fighting. And there's always a rumor that like Heath Ledger was like, I'm not doing this again, so beat the fuck out of me, like, for real.
Yeah.
Let's fucking get it over with. And so, like, those scenes where he's, like, smashing him in the wall and on the table, it's all real.
Yeah.
Because he's like, just fucking please.
And I love that idea.
Do it good.
I love that scene. A lot of people, like, the interrogation scene's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
I like the idea, too, where it's like Batman's whole thing is, I'm going to scare you. Like, we're talking about even the first movie, fear. Like, it's really important. The Joker's not afraid of him. So he's like, you can
he has the upper hand.
And I love it. He's like, you can beat me up all you want. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, what does Batman do after that? It's like, I can't talk to you. I can't reason with you. I can't beat you up. Like, I think it's fucking
and on top of that, he has two people
who are
set up to die right now.
Yeah.
And isn't that wild to think about? If Batman just talked to him instead of fought him, both of them might have lived.
Maybe. Yeah, it's probably
true. Because he's beating the fuck out of him. And finally, after he's done and sits him down, he's like, okay, I'll tell you this. And it's like, but there was no clock. There was no watch. There was nothing.
Yeah, because he asked him what time it is.
Does he?
Yeah. Oh, the Joker asks him what time it is. He's like, what? I think he asked Gordon, though. He's like, what time is it? And he's like, what does it matter to you? No, it's definitely fucking Batman. He's like, what's it matter to you? He's like, well, it's because the difference is they could be in either one place or several, depending on what time it is. So that's why he tells him what time it is. Well, no, I don't even think he ever tells him though. I think he just says, "What'd you do?" I think he just says, "What'd you do?" After that.
I don't think there is a time. So I think that's really funny that like if he just sat there and talked to him,
Yeah.
he might have. What movie is that where he's
Saw
like?
too.
Fucking love that. It is Saw 2.
It's funny. This conversation makes a circle.
It is Saw 2.
That's it for the episode, guys. See you later.
If you just sat here and talked to me like I told you to. Oh, that is Saw 2. That's a good fucking ending.
It's a good twist.
I forgot about that ending. Anyways, sorry, spoilers. We're in spoiler section. Well, not really. We didn't really spoil anything, but that's funny. I can't believe we both thought of that.
Anyway, we go with Dark Knight?
Mm-hmm. Well, Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises! Coming up next.
You're on your own on this one. You sound disgusting. Ew.
Where's the trigger?
Where's the trigger?
Where's the trigger?
That's exactly what he sounds like.
100%. It's kind of terrible. But you know what? Fuck it. Whatever. I'm happy. Like.
And then everyone. You can make fun of him as much as you want. But as much as you wanted him to reappear one day in another superhero movie and he didn't, it bummed me out.
Yeah, I agree.
I wish I heard his voice again.
Yeah.
Well, finally, my second celebrity crush is introduced.
Oh, we're talking about JGL?
JGL.
That's your celebrity crush?
Yeah, something about him.
Really?
500 Days of Summer.
Okay. He's so desperate in that movie.
I just think he would be a person that I would like totally date because he's nothing like Dylan. Just that guy.
That's a weird thing to say, man.
It's so true. Opposites attract, right? Because he is the guy in that movie that's like, he doesn't care about being embarrassed in public.
Okay.
Like them in IKEA is just ridiculous. And then them in the park and they're like,
Penis.
Penis.
Yeah.
Penis. Like that whole scene is hilarious. I love that movie. That's a good movie. Yes, I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I love him. I don't really care for him as like a cop. I like him in 500 Days where he's like the hoodie.
Okay.
Not loser, I guess, but guy who's poor and hates his job. But I don't know, just think about his character. I really like him. I hate that he's a hothead in this movie.
He's not even a hothead, though.
Gordon fucking hates it, too.
Not
Gordon, it's
Gordon
the other guy.
It's the other guy.
Yeah.
Who's like, get hotheads
Get this
out
hothead out of
Get
here.
this hothead out of here. It's like, he's not, he's asking all the right questions. Get this fucking hothead out of here.
We're going to go down there, right?
It's like, the commissioner's down there. Like, we should go save him, right? Get this fucking hothead out of here. Okay.
I love
it. We should save those people, right? That fucking hothead. Get this fucking hothead.
So true. I love him.
It's like, okay.
I love JGL. He's my favorite.
No, he's pretty good. No, I actually really like JGL as well.
Inception.
It was nice him carrying over both Tom Hardy and JGL from Inception. So, no, I think he's great. He's a great character. Blake, interesting name. So,
I actually don't know anything about Robin.
Okay, so
I have never seen any Robin movies before.
Okay, so we'll give you a little.
Please and thank you.
So, the ending of this movie reveals that his name is actually Robin.
His birth name is Robin.
Robin. So, okay, it's a nice little, okay. And he follows in Batman's footsteps, okay? His last name is Blake, okay? And he has so a lot of Batman movies, they try to do Dick Grayson as the Robin. Dick Grayson was the first Robin.
Okay.
He becomes Nightwing later in the comics, but his whole thing is he's a part of a traveling circus, and they're a trapeze artist, him and his family. And a mob boss kills his parents in front of Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne just happens to be there and sees it. So Bruce Wayne...
He's an orphan. orphan.
So he's an orphan.
An orphan? Adopted an orphan?
Yes. So, and his whole thing is he wants to kill the guy, like the mob boss who killed his family. So Bruce Wayne eventually takes him in and then shows him the Batcave. And he's like, listen, like, I was just like you. I know exactly what's going on in your head. Like, we're not going to kill that guy, but I could train you to like defeat him. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So that's what it is. And it's like one of those things where they have this like really interesting father and son relationship where it's like Dick Grayson looks up to Bruce Wayne as the person I want to be when I'm older. And Bruce Wayne looks to him as like, I want to give him the childhood that I should have had. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
not so angry and
exactly, right?
Go to prison for a few years.
100%. So they have like an interesting relationship. And then there's the second Robin, who's Jason Todd. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know much about his backstory. I don't know why, but he's important because he dies. He gets killed. He eventually comes back in the comics as the Red Hood. It's like a big thing, but it's important that he dies because that kind of drives a wedge between him and Dick Grayson. And then there's a third Robin named Tim Drake. So Blake, Drake. And they even use Tim Drake's backstory for John Blake in this movie. So Tim Drake's storyline is he one time saw he was also in the audience when Dick Grayson's parents died. So he just so happened to, as a little kid. So he knew the Flying Graysons, like the trapeze act. And one time he saw Robin on the news do a similar backflip as the Flying Graysons.
Oh.
So he was like, oh, interesting. I recognize that. And he'd be about the same age. And so then he like starts to like deduce like, well, wait a second. Bruce Wayne took him in and Bruce Wayne would have enough money to do all this. So that wouldn't actually make a lot of sense if Bruce Wayne was Batman. So he like eventually confronts. So what ends up happening is, after Jason Todd dies, Dick Grayson ends up becoming Nightwing and he leaves, and Batman starts spiraling. He starts like kind of getting super depressed, like almost like he needs a Robin to keep him in check at this point. So Tim Drake confronts him and he's like, "Hey man, like I know you're Batman, like." And if you need a Robin, I can definitely be that for you. So like he gives him the Robin suit. And even though he's not much of a fighter, he's more of like a smarts guy, but like he becomes the third Robin because of that. So it's like they use that storyline for John Blake in this movie where he deduces that he's Batman.
You keep saying John Blake. Is his first name John?
I believe so. That's right. Is his name John Blake?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's Robin technically, but I believe his name's John Blake in the movie. Detective Blake, whatever the fuck his name is.
I don't remember the first
We'll
name.
call him
John.
We'll call him JGL.
I'm just asking because I'm like, oh, because it would have been cool if his first name was Blake, and then on his uniform it would have said Blake on his patch, and then you would have known that Blake was not his. It was like a little Easter egg.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then you would have been like, ooh, Blake's not his first name. What is his first name? And then it wouldn't be revealed to the very end what his first name
Robin.
is. So that would have been cool.
Yeah.
How does he find out?
He deduces it. He like Tim Drake does. He was grew up in an orphanage, and he just met Bruce Wayne one day, and he deduced that like they were similar, where they had to like fake being happy. Mm-hmm. And he saw the same thing in Batman or something, and he's like, "Oh, they must be the same person."
Because he's like,
they don't really
walked in with a bunch of girls on your arm. And...
Yeah, they don't really explain it super well, but they pretty much explain that like he just knows he's Batman. He like figured it out when he was a kid, and he's held on to it. He's never told anybody, which means he can be trusted, which is awesome. And it also leads to a really, really good conversation later with Anne Hathaway, who we'll talk about in a second, when he's like. He's like, oh, you're going to jail pretty much. And then he turns off the recorder and he's like, have you heard from our friend? And then she's like, not in a couple of days. He's like, did they kill him? And she's like, I'm not sure. That's actually my favorite that whole conversation is my favorite moment in the movie. One of my favorite moments. I think it's written super well. I think it's acted super well. But anyway, anything else about Joseph Gordon-Levitt you want to talk about? Was that a good Robin explanation?
Yeah.
Okay,
that was awesome. Yeah.
Cool. And then,
I didn't know much about him. I didn't know they were different ages. I thought they were like the same age.
oh yeah, no, they like go. And then there's the newest Robin, which is actually super important because he's the Robin. He's actually super important to this movie. It just so happens he's the Robin that will actually be in the newest Batman movie that's coming out. They're doing like not the Robert Pattinson Batman, but they're doing another one. Yeah.
Come on.
But
how many are there?
I know. But
so now in our generation, we have Christopher Nolan,
Yeah.
not Bruce Wayne. What?
Ben Affleck,
Robert Pattinson.
and we're gonna have another one too.
You don't know who he is, the Elliot.
A lot of people are saying it might be John Krasinski.
I love John.
Me too.
Not for a Superman. Oh, he got pretty jacked.
Yeah, I could see he might be okay. I don't know, but
He was already a superhero, wasn't he?
he was the Fantastic.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a one-off thing. But anyway, what's important though is the newest Robin is Damian Wayne. So it's Bruce Wayne's son. So Bruce Wayne sleeps with Talia al Ghul in the comics, and she like goes back because her dad is Ra's al Ghul, is, and she shows up like 15 years later, and she has a son that's like, we'll say 12 or 13. We'll say, so she shows up like 14 years later, and she has a son who's Bruce Wayne's son, but he's been trained by the League of Shadows, and then Bruce Wayne takes him in and trains him to be Batman. So the thing that's really interesting about Damian Wayne is he really, really wants to kill everybody because he was trained by the League of Shadows. He's like, I want to do what the League of Shadows does, and Bruce Wayne's like, no, I have to teach you that like life is valuable and shit like that. So he's actually super interesting.
We don't kill people.
Yeah. And he's very like hot-headed and stuff. And then eventually Batman dies in the comics, which he doesn't die, but he does. And Dick Grayson takes over as Batman, and that's, in my opinion, the best Batman and Robin. It's Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne. Fantastic. Okay. Because Dick Grayson because they're both like the sons of Bruce Wayne in quotations.
Yeah,
you
but
see
one is like the father age of the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it works. And like Damian Wayne's like kind of like the dick kid. I'm trying to like the asshole kid who's like just a punk kid. And then Dick Grayson's like, well, he taught us to do this and stuff. So I think.
So you think that's what's happening in the new movie?
I hope so. I personally hope so. And I think John Krasinski would make a really good Dick Grayson, actually. So, but that's just me. Anyway, sorry, we went on a tangent.
John Krasinski, fuck. And I love him. I just don't see it. I don't see it. He's not rugged enough for me. He's too soft.
Agreed. He was perfect as
He looks like he uses moisturizer. And that's not what I like. Robert Pattinson looks like he showers every other 3 days. Like he looks like a Batman for me. Like rugged, manly.
It's true. Like John Krasinski's beard is too perfect.
It's just too
He gets that shit
nice.
Professionally, man.
It's just too nice. But I love John.
Let's talk about Anne Hathaway a little bit.
I fucking love her in this movie.
She's amazing in this movie.
She is amazing as Catwoman.
The best, I think, as much as I talked about that other conversation that I love the scene where she brings the fingerprints to the guy in the bar. And the guy's like, let's kill her now. And she's like, I don't know if you can count, but you might need the thumb. And then she like makes him use the phone. And then the senator.
It would be a lot easier for everybody.
If you just give me the thing.
Me the thing.
And I love the idea that like she beats everybody up. And then as soon as the police kick in the door, she just starts screaming.
Yeah.
And everybody just ignores her.
I love that.
Perfect. I think she is fucking excellent in this movie.
Oh, there's another one that's like that is Aces, Smoking Aces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whenever all the cops come in, he's over there. And he's like,
he walks out with the FBI badge. He's like, "This fucking crazy out there!" And he just walks out.
What actor is what's his
Chris
name?
Pine.
Chris Pine.
He's so good.
That's
in that
exactly
movie.
who it is. There's blood all over him.
Yeah,
it's crazy in there.
It's so crazy.
And he just walks by and he stops crying and he just walks off. It's so funny, and he lives. Yeah, it's so funny. Fuck. Speaking of Ben Affleck, that's a great movie.
That's a fucking awesome movie.
Anyways, that was such a fucking weird. There's a lot of people in that movie. Anne Hathaway's not in there.
No, but Anne Hathaway's amazing in this movie.
I love Anne Hathaway. I love how intelligent she is. Whenever he's like, caught on to her and the way her personality changes. She goes, oops.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was uncrackable. And just the way her whole maneuver changes. It's so cool.
It's true. And I love the idea you can't trust her. I love another great moment is when she's like, hey, I'm sorry your money got stolen. He looks at her, he's like, no, you're not. And he just walks away.
Because the one scene she apologizes, about the bringing it to Bane thing. And then he's like, I wouldn't have trusted you if you didn't.
Yeah.
So he trusted her because she brought him, right?
One thing that's interesting about this movie, so this movie is, and I didn't really notice it until watching it this time, this movie is very much about, so they talk about it a little bit in the last one. So the last one, they introduced the sonar, where it's like you could fucking use everybody's cell phones, and it's like huge invasion of privacy. And I don't say Martin Freeman. Morgan Freeman's character.
Say Mark Ruffalo. What the fuck?
My brain went scrambled with M words for a second there.
Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk, is in here.
He just shows up for one scene. Morgan Freeman's like, this is wrong. Like, I don't want to be a part of this crew, and because he's like, if it falls into the wrong hands, like, that's a real problem. And that's why Bruce Wayne is like, after we're done today, put in your name. It'll fucking self-destruct. It'll never fall into the wrong hands. This movie is very much about shit falling into the wrong hands.
We talked about this, actually.
Me and you talked about this after we talked about this last week. Yeah, but it was off mic. So it's very much about the nuclear device that's just for sustainable energy. He purposely tanked it because that guy posted a paper, and if it fell into the wrong hands, somebody could use it as a nuclear weapon. It's like, oh, interesting. Okay. And then they even go into the erase your past thing. Yeah. That the Anne Hathaway, her whole character arc revolves around, I need this thing.
Yeah.
And then Daggett, who is a character from the show, I don't think he's a character from the comic books. He's like, oh, we bought the company, but it turns out they never actually completed it. They never made it. Like, it's a fake thing that doesn't exist. And then at the very end, Bruce Wayne's like, actually, it does exist. I bought it from the company first, and I told them to tell everybody that they couldn't make it. So it's like, it's another thing where it's like, he's like, I couldn't let it fall into the wrong hands. And it's like, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like, we have all of this technology, even like to the point where it's like anything that's in Wayne Towers, after he loses his money, the first thing he does to Morgan Freeman, he says to Morgan Freeman is like, whoever owns Wayne Industries now has access to all of our shit. Yeah. It's going to fall into the wrong hands. And Morgan Freeman's like, no. It's off the books. No one even knows about it. Yeah. It's fine. And then when Bane blows up the ceiling and the tumblers fall, it reveals, oh no, Bane knows where it all is. So it all fell into the wrong hands. Either way. Yeah. It's all about Bane grabbing shit that Bruce Wayne was trying to hide. That's very much what this movie's about.
Does he know because of the chick?
What's that? Oh, probably.
Right? Because that's how he got hold of the nuclear bomb too.
Yeah.
And she didn't know about it. It was Lucius who kept pushing her onto him. Or else she wouldn't have known about it. She
knew that she thought it was because she says
it existed. She did not know it was in that fucking weird crate.
No. Morgan Freeman's the one who shows her where it is, yes. But because she says everything was going fine, and then Pavel makes the paper, and all of a sudden it's not working anymore. She's like, I knew it was fucking down here. Like, and I respect the fact that you're trying to hide it. But anyway, this movie's very much about that. Speaking of Talia al Ghul, Marion Cotillard. Fantastic. That's the girl who plays Talia al Ghul.
Oh, okay.
She's pretty good. I think she's fantastic. Her. She's great. Again, another carryover from Inception. She played Ma.
Mal? I don't know her name. Yeah, the main wife.
The wife, yeah.
She has that perfect. She played the perfect part of the rich woman who had money, but she didn't shove it in your face. She was very smart about everything. She really followed that character for me. That's what I liked about her.
What do you think of her as the child? That there's that whole bit in
Yeah.
okay. You know what? Let's talk about the Lazarus Pit for a second. So earlier I was talking about Ra's al Ghul, whatever the fuck you want to call him. His whole backstory in the comics. So his thing is he's immortal. Every time he dies, somebody puts his body in the Lazarus Pit. I'm not really sure. It doesn't matter. Lazarus Pit, but it's like this pit of like goo, and they put you in, and then he like awakens from the dead. That's like his thing. So he can never die because people keep putting him in the Lazarus Pit kind of thing. So in the first movie, they make it where it's like, oh, immortality is just because he has a bunch of different people that pretend to be him. And then they introduce the Lazarus Pit in this movie, but it's a prison. And like, I think it's like when you go in, you come out reborn. And I'm like, oh, what a fucking amazing idea for a metaphorical Lazarus Pit.
Really,
it's
though.
like, that's a fucking cool
The
idea.
first one is a little ridiculous, but the other one, metaphorically, is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a Lazarus Pit. This is amazing. So that's pretty cool. What'd you think of the whole child thing? When you watched it the first time, did you know that that wasn't a little girl? It was a little, okay.
Did you?
I did. I did. It got spoiled for me, unfortunately, by the actress. I recognize the actress, first of all, but she said she was playing, they're like, oh, who are you playing? And she's like, oh, I'm playing Talia al Ghul. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer, because when I first hear her, I'm like, oh, that's, first of all, Talia al Ghul's not even introduced at that point. And I just know from the comics who Talia al Ghul is. That's Ra's al Ghul's daughter. I just know.
How does that have to do with the kid?
Because you think it's supposed to be Bane.
What does that have to do with her being the kid?
Because you think it's supposed to be Bane. So like the whole movie you're watching, and they're letting it on that it's Bane. Oh,
Yeah.
Bane escaped from the prison.
But how did you know that was her?
Oh, because it was before the movie came out.
So you just knew that child was her.
Yeah, I recognized the girl. She was from another movie. Joey King. She's in a lot of shit now. She's in like the Kissing Booth movies. She's in a lot. She was on like Bullet Train. It doesn't matter. But anyway, she was in another movie before that. So I just recognized her. I was like, oh, Joey King, that's pretty cool. Like the little girl. And then they said, oh, I'm playing Talia al Ghul. I was like, oh, fuck. So then in my brain, I'm like, well, that means Talia al Ghul's in this movie. And then all of a sudden I started going through like, well, who the fuck's Talia? And I'm like, oh, probably Marion Cotillard. It would make a lot of sense. And then, when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, you piece it together. But watching it, it still works for me. I'm like, I like the idea of like, they think the kid's Bane and then it turns out it's Talia. I think it works better. Watching it the second time, I remember we were talking last week. Okay. So as much as I love The Dark Knight, I don't know what it was about The Dark Knight Rises. It's possible that I was half in the bag when I was watching it. This movie made me fucking emotional. Okay, and we were talking about...
We talked about this.
We did talk about this.
Bawled my eyes out at the end.
So I was talking about there are 3 times when I almost cried. And I'm not a big crier, so I was like, this hit me way too much. I drank way too much that day. But the one that every time I'm like, this is actually super like sad and sweet, weirdly. But it's after the second time you watch it that it really, really hits hard, is when it explains that the mom left the cage open and all the prisoners killed her, and then they tried to kill the kid, but then her savior saved, just knowing that that's Bane, and like he like grabs her and like they like huddled down in a corner and he's just like cradling her, and it's like, oh my god, that is so fucking sad. And like just like it makes their relationship so much more interesting.
I just don't know what the mom did. Because she was the only woman?
No. Well, yeah, it's because she was the only woman pretty much. But so it was supposed to be Ra's al Ghul who was in the prison, but instead she took on the sentence, and she's the only woman. So yeah, it's left to imply that they raped her and killed her. Like,
right.
And they probably would have done the same too to the kid.
But you don't know it's a girl yet.
But you don't know it's a girl yet. So, and that's probably why she shaved that kid's head, like stuff like that. Like,
I would have.
Oh yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
But
her name is Tom. You got that?
For real.
Thomas.
Well, that's it. Like, and I just the idea that Bane just protected her until the final moments when He's like, you got to fucking go.
Right.
And that's the reason why he's in so much pain is after he let her go, they just beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And then the doctor tried to like help him, but he was a fucking, like they kind of implied that he was a heroin addict or a drug addict, an opium addict, either way. So he fucked his body up hardcore, and that's why he has to have the mask on all the time, right?
Yeah, because they were like, by the time we got back,
Yeah, he was fucking
yeah,
done.
they were like the doctor in the pit had his way with them or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I didn't really care. I don't think that was really a twist for me because if you really watch the movie, now that you know, every single time they encounter each other, he always goes, bring her over here.
Yeah, that's true.
And she always is separated from them. I definitely didn't think they loved each other in any way, not like that.
I don't think it's definitely a platonic thing. It's not.
No, I understand it's platonic. I'm just saying though, like I definitely didn't think that they knew each other. But when I found out that was her in the pit, I didn't really like gasp. It was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, sure,
Yeah.
why not? But I do like that was him. I love that one iconic line when he's like, he turns off the lights and he's like, oh, you think the doc is gonna save you?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's
I was
like,
born in the darkness.
Yeah, you nearly adopted the doc. I was born in it. And it's like, fuck, he's so true though.
Okay, let's talk about that fight scene. That fight scene.
This is one of the first times you see Batman
Get his fucking ass handed to him.
He's stoppable.
Yeah.
And he fucking beat the fuck out of him. But then he had a mask and he took the mask off and he never really said who Bruce Wayne was.
Well, he didn't have to. He knows he's Bruce Wayne. He says. He's like, because Catwoman, leads him to the trap, and then the door comes down, and she's like, I'm really sorry, I had no choice. And he's like, you made a big mistake. And then Bane's like, not as big a mistake as you've made, Bruce. And that's when she's like, oh shit, you're Bruce Wayne. Like, that's when she realizes.
Oh, I didn't
so
even remember.
He calls him Bruce. And then they fight, and he kicks the living shit out of him, which is funny because you were talking about earlier in the last movie how
because she knew he was Bruce Wayne because she had the apple scene.
Oh yeah, okay. She didn't know he was Bruce Wayne yet, though.
You just said that Bane told her it was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, at that moment.
But then next time she sees him, he's Bruce Wayne, and then she's like, "You're alive."
Yes.
Yeah,
and then but she makes a point like, oh, is your friend going to help us? Because that was what he kept saying to her. And that's why, she thought that he knew Batman, but it turns out he is Batman. But the apple scene is, oh, you're back kind of thing.
Yeah. She's like, you're not dead or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, not yet, but I need your help. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that fight scene's fucking awesome. It's such a good.
I fucking love that.
And it's like, I love Batman when he's like, I'm throwing every fucking thing I have at him.
Right.
And he's got all his gadgets. He's got like, I'm going to turn the lights off. I'm going to throw the fucking smoke bombs in his face. And Bane's like, get the fuck out. Like, what are you doing?
You look like a clown. Yeah, stop.
And then he breaks his back, which is exactly what he does in that comic that I was talking about earlier.
That's so cool that he just fucking, bam!
Yeah.
And then that's it. Knocked out, dead.
Just
and
done.
then in the pits, whenever the guy was like, when you start walking, we can get started.
Yeah,
you have to start. You got to respect that. Mm-hmm. You got to start walking. I'm not going to give you massages. I'm not going to give you a pity party.
Yeah,
we can start.
When you heal.
When you got to do this on your own, though. I really like that.
So this is the first movie too. Speaking of Bane, just going back, this is one of the first. So and you know what they do? Okay. Sorry. Let's go back a little bit. So in superhero movies, the villain always has a crew.
Okay.
And it's always like, how the fuck did they get this crew? You know what I mean? I like that all of these movies kind of take time to explain it a little bit. So like the first movie, it's just a League of Shadows. That doesn't make sense. The second movie, the Joker is like killing off gangsters and accumulating their people. And even before that, it's just a bunch of Arkham inmates. Like I like that. I think it's kind of interesting. And then this movie, I like that they go out of their way to explain it too, where it's all orphans. They were all like orphans who lived in the orphanage that was funded by Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne, but the Wayne Enterprises
Yeah.
stopped funding it a couple years ago, and all of them, once they reached the age of 18,
They give him a job in the sewers.
yeah, like they have nowhere to go, so they all end up in the sewers.
Yeah.
And so it's like all orphans and shit. I'm like, that's an interesting way to like.
Yeah, because Blake kept saying, why would he be down there? And he's like, oh, everyone gets a job when they're 18.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, that's interesting. So like, I like that. I think it's like kind of cool. And so we were also talking about this earlier. How we were talking about this last week. How Bane's kind of like a Bond villain in this movie a little bit. Like the idea is very Bond villainy. Like I'm gonna fucking nuke this city, for no fucking reason too.
Yeah.
Like there's no ransom demands. Like, and then even the idea of just like this lair in the sewers. Like it's fucking cool, and he's got his crew, and I like that. I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. I do love they work in the sewers. I think that's a cool little twist on it, in my opinion.
So also we talked about Talia a little bit. Going back to Talia, I did find something super interesting this time though. I'd never noticed this before. I've noticed it, but I never really thought about it before until this time. So Talia knows what's going to happen. I'm only assuming. She definitely does, right? Like the idea that they're going to steal the bomb, they're going to hold the city ransom, and they're going to, right before that happens, Talia shows up to Bruce Wayne's mansion. Mm-hmm. And the power gets turned off, and he's lost all of his money, and it's like all of that. And then she has that line where she's like stoking the fire, and he sees the scar, and then she's like, oh, me and my family were super poor growing up, but anytime we had a fire, I felt like
it made us feel rich.
And then she asks him to leave. She's like, the two of us, we should just get the fuck out of here. Like, we should just go anywhere else. She's like, it doesn't matter. I have money. It doesn't matter. Let's just go. Let's just leave Gotham and go anywhere else. And I never thought of that either. I've never thought of it either. But like, when you put into perspective that Talia is going to blow up the city very soon, interesting that she's like, let's just get out of here. Like she gives him the choice almost. Like
isn't that funny?
It's that idea.
Because I know that scene happened, but you're right. I never thought of that.
I never thought of it until this time.
That she kind of fell in love with him in that moment, and then she's like, fuck.
Yeah,
I fucked up.
We just gotta
but
get
she
out
doesn't
of here.
know she's Batman, does she?
Oh yeah, she totally knows he's Batman because she knows that he killed her dad. And this is where her whole plan is, I want to finish what my dad started. Which is
the Earth or whatever, not
the
Earth.
I guess it's so. I'm only assuming she never really wanted to kill Batman. That's also why she puts him in a fucking pit across the world. Like she's trying to get him out of there. It's she just wants to blow up Gotham, right?
Why Gotham?
Because that's what Ra's al Ghul wanted to blow up. Was
why?
So the way they explain it is, so the League of Shadows.
I feel like a kid. Why? Why? When you answer, they go, "Why?"
It's okay. I like explaining things, so this is good. In the first movies of Batman Begins, the League of Shadows, they explain themselves as, whenever a particular society gets too powerful, we have to level it out. Like we're the people that make it
humble you.
Exactly.
We're humblers.
100%. So he's like, we put plague rats on the boats. We toppled Rome. We burnt whatever to the ground. And Gotham, he's like, normally we're very offensive. We're very we attack. This time we tried to be a little smarter about it because Gotham was getting too powerful. So we tried economics. We tried to make it where there was more poor. There was more this, there was more that. It eventually would tear itself apart. And what happened was Bruce Wayne's parents died. And because Bruce Wayne's parents died, for whatever reason, everybody in the city rallied together and tried to make the city a better place. So it was like one of those things where it's like, it had a completely different effect that they meant to. So that's why he's like, we have to come back and just be what we normally are. We have to be more offensive. We have to just fucking destroy it like we normally would. And that's what the microwave emitter is. So with her, I guess she's like, he always wanted to destroy Gotham. This is the time. Like, this is what we got to do. So.
I like that idea, though, of what you said, that she asked him to leave. I never thought of
it. I'm like, oh, I just noticed it this time. I'm like, oh,
and then
she's
Catwoman
totally...
was like, let's leave together.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, you fucking... Good
yeah,
you're
swimming in it, bro.
And
like,
you're fucking broke, and
yeah.
you're still swimming.
High fucking five,
I love
bro.
the one day whenever he's broke, and then he's like, I need to go to a party, and Alfred's like, do you want to borrow my car?
Just bring it back with a full tank of gas.
I just love that he borrowed his, like, whatever, his fancy car. It's like, holy fuck. I think that's so funny. We never talked about the football scene.
Oh, yeah.
How epic.
It's a cool scene. I remember that was in the very first trailer, and it was like, whoa.
My favorite part is whenever Bane's like, he has a lovely voice, or whatever he says. And it's like the most, like, sincere moment of, like, man, that guy has a really nice voice, before he knows he's going to blow it
Yeah,
up.
just blow the whole fight. And he fucking... Yeah. Sorry, going back. So, yeah, no, that scene's fucking cool. It kills off the mayor, too.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about... Yeah, so you were talking about the ending. Talia al Ghul reveals herself to be the villain. She's like, I got to blow this city up. I don't know why she wants to blow herself up, too. I think that seems kind of counterproductive.
Well, she already asked him to leave.
I guess, but... So she's like, all right, I'm out. And then Bane, she's like, I want you to feel the fire of, like, the nuclear bomb. And then she pieces. And then Bane is like, you know I can't leave you alive. And then he pretty much says, like, he grabs the shotgun and he's like, you're going to have to just... The fire's going to be metaphorical for you. And then Catwoman shoots him and kills him.
Yeah.
And then Catwoman's like, listen, I know you got rules, but that gun one's fucking lame. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they killed Bane off super easily. What did you think? I think it's kind of lame.
Oh, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
That didn't bother me.
I think
that way about Two-Face, but not about Bane.
I think they killed him off so easily, especially for somebody, although they do technically have a final confrontation on the steps where he starts knocking the fucking pieces off of his thing, which I think
he's already fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. So he's like, yeah, which I think is a cool fight. And I love it because they're fighting and he starts knocking the pieces off of his mask and Bane starts getting more and more angry.
Yeah,
and
then
fast.
he starts like breaking off the stone
so
and stuff.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, holy shit. Like, and he beats him, which is great because you got to come back and beat him at the end, right? I think he beats him a little. I don't like the fact that she kills him, but at the same time, I don't know what else she would have done.
I think it was perfectly fine. I think it was obvious. She needed to come back.
Yeah.
She needed to have a heart to show that, like...
She's the Han Solo. She pulled a Han Solo. Like, Han Solo's like, this place is going to blow up. We're getting the fuck out of here. And then, of course, at the end, I gotta save the day.
Yeah, I that fucking motorcycle is epic,
It's
man.
cool.
Whenever she turns and just the wheels go the other way, I'm like, shut up. But I love her. I love this movie for her.
Mm-hmm. She's really good.
Yeah, that fucking ending. Oh my God. Because I always forget about the autopilot part.
Yeah.
So I'm crying and I'm already like not crying. I'm just like teary. And then it's that scene with like Gordon and he touches the bat and he realizes that it was just redone again.
Oh,
the bat signal. So he's like, he's alive because nobody else would have done that. And then so Gordon touches it. And then let's talk about Gordon and the jacket. Don't let me forget that. And then Lucius, his fox, was he's super sad because, you know, he's dead. And then he's like, no, autopilot was fixed. I'm like, by who? And he's like, Bruce Wayne, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And you got a picture, like, I'm like crying. I'm not bawling. I'm just like, you know, kind of like whimpering a little bit. It was the scene with Alfred, and they do the little head nod. Yeah. And that was it for me. I couldn't even breathe. I was crying so hard, and the credits are going, and I'm just bawling. I'm like, because I've watched this movie 50 times, and it's just that scene where like all of them are realizing, oh, he's alive. He's fine. It was like, But yeah, that scene, I definitely don't think that was enough information for Gordon to realize who he was.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, do you not help a lot of kids?
Where he's like, something as easy as putting a jacket on a kid. And that was pretty much it. And it wasn't like who lost both of his parents in a gunshot when he was 5. It was like...
I don't think he was trying to tell him who he was. I think it was more of the idea like, no, I could be anybody. Like, you helped me once, and you know what I mean? You've helped my entire life, but like, you helped me when I was a little kid. He pretty much like says like, you're just a good person, and that's why. But like, it's not until Gordon's like Bruce Wayne that it kind of doesn't work for me. Because like, I like the fact that it's just like, I could be fucking anybody.
I kind of wish he didn't realize. I kind of wish he would have been like,
because I apologize. I'm totally stepping on you.
Continue. Go ahead.
But yeah, even in like the fucking comics, he never finds out. Maybe he might find out in like some storylines. But I know there's one that's really important where Bruce Wayne's like when Batman's like, listen, you fucking have helped me out my entire life. You did. I want to say, I know exactly what comic book it is now. And I want to say his daughter gets like paralyzed. Like Jim Gordon's daughter gets paralyzed because he helps Batman. And his wife dies. And Bruce Wayne's like, listen, like, you have to know who I fucking am. Like, you've given me so much. I have to tell you. And he takes his mask off, and Gordon purposely turns around. And he's like, put your mask back on. I don't want to know who you are. I just, you know what I mean? Like, we trust each other. We have a great relationship. I don't need to know that. And he like walks away. And I like, it's important almost that he doesn't know who he is. Like,
I'd be so upset if you find out and it's someone who bullied you like years ago and you're like, fuck, it's fucking Todd.
Yeah.
Fuck, that fucker didn't mow his lawn. Fuck.
You know what this reminds me of? There was a comic book where Lex Luthor was trying to figure out who the Flash was. And he beats the Flash, and he's like...
I didn't know they're
part of the same universe. They just like, I don't know.
Sorry, Lex Luthor is Superman's
enemy. Yeah. So Lex Luthor's trying to figure out who the Flash is. So he beats the Flash down, and he's like unconscious. And he's like, finally, like, I've so many years, I've been waiting for this. Like, I get to know who the Flash is. And he pulls the mask off, and he looks in the face. He's like, huh, I have no idea who this person is. And like, that's what I think. I was just like you said, he turns around, he's like, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, like, are they always Barry?
Yeah, for the most part. There's a couple of different Flashes. There's like Barry Allen. The original was Jay Garrick. And there's Barry Allen is the big one, the Silver Age one. And then
I fucking loved our Lex Luthor. That actor is amazing.
Which one?
I know his name. We're Lex Luthor.
You're talking about like Jesse Eisenberg?
Yes.
I thought he was a terrible Lex Luthor. I thought he was.
I really like how like crazy he is.
He was terrible. I don't think he should have been Lex Luthor.
I love him in Social.
Oh, he's amazing. He's an amazing actor. I just don't think he's a good Lex Luthor.
Oh, I don't know Lex Luthor though, but
and that's the thing. Like that's probably
felt
what it
like
is.
he was great for the character.
A good villain. I think he could have been somebody else. I don't think he should have been the Lex Luthor. That's my problem.
He would have been a good Batman villain for something, though.
Like, he could have been a good Riddler.
He has that face, like the nose and everything.
Yeah.
He has that perfect face. I like Jesse Eisenberg.
No, he's good. But
yeah,
no, there's a bunch of different Flashes. There's like Jay Garrick was the original, and then Barry Allen. I want to say he read Flash comics in the comic book with Jay Garrick. And and then when he becomes Super Speed, that's where he gets the name, the Flash.
Okay.
And that's how they work that one in. And then there's Wally West, who's his nephew, I believe.
You don't know too much about comics.
I just know comics just because I grew up with them.
You know too
And then there's Bart Allen, I want to say, who's from the future, if I'm not mistaken. It's like his ancestor.
From the future?
Oh, shit.
But I was really fucking excited for a Batman movie, though. Or for a Robin. I really was. And I thought it would have been a really, really cool idea where, like, he didn't have to be rich because he already had all the stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked that because Lucius Fox was still around.
Yeah.
Wayne Towers was still around.
And here's the thing. In the comics, too, Lucius Fox has a son, Lucas Fox, who like takes over once.
Lucius and Lucas.
Yeah,
Shut up.
So he has a son who takes over when he like retires. So
and like Alfred was still around because he only goes on vacation.
Yeah.
So he would have been back in town because he only went on
100%.
vacation. So it's like, and then he would have come back and been like, okay, this is what we did.
Yeah. And it's like now Batman's still around. It's like I think that would have been a cool way to end it. So one thing I did notice in this one though, this one has the best Batcave of the three, right? It's really cool. It like comes out of the water and shit. Why did he build the Batcave though? Was he always building the Batcave in the Dark Knight? So the first movie, the house burns down. And the second movie, he lives in a penthouse while his house is being rebuilt, right? And then the Batcave in that is like a storage container. It's actually the same storage container that they use to hold the fucking thing, right?
What are you talking about?
Am I crazy with that? No. Yeah.
In the second one, he lived in a penthouse.
Yeah, he doesn't live in the mansion. He lives in a penthouse. Probably Wayne Enterprises.
Oh, with the party, the Harvey Kent party.
Yeah, the Harvey Dent party.
Yeah, Harvey Dent. I'm now thinking of Clark Kent. Yeah.
And even like after Rachel dies, he's like sitting in the chair and his mask is off and he's like just sitting.
What about the piano thing and the hidden door?
That's the first one.
And the third one.
Yeah, and probably the third one too. Yeah. Definitely the third one as well. So that's the thing. So the first one, he doesn't have a bat cave. It's just a cave, and he kind of holds his shit in there. And then the second one, he has like the platform and shit underneath the ground. And then at the end of the second one, he retires as Batman. But in the third one, he has a bat cave.
Which is under the house.
Yeah, it's like, why would he build that bat cave if he retired as Batman?
Boredom.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of too. He's like, I got so much money and I'm so fucking bored.
Could
like,
you imagine not running your business,
yeah,
but that is making you millions? You know how bored I would be?
Oh my God.
Just sitting at home being like, I don't even know what the fuck to buy anymore. I have no idea.
In a world where you could literally have anything in a snap of your fingers, at the snap of your fingers, it would suck.
Like, we saw what happens because Viva La Bam showed us when he was fucking sawing a sunroof in his Lambo.
Yeah.
Just because Billy Idol wanted a sunroof. That's what happens when you have too much money.
Yeah.
$300,000 down or when they put the fucking inflatable boat in his car and it accidentally went off. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
and all the windows are popping and they're all standing out there like... That's what happens when you have too much money. Just stupidity to the maximum. Like billboards that are like, don't feed Phil. I gotta watch that show again.
That show's fucking amazing.
I fucking love that show when Johnny Knoxville comes back and he's hacking his fucking Hummer. It's like, holy fuck.
That's the best episode. The prank war is the best
and he
episode.
gives out fucking Johnny's... No, whose phone number is that? That is...
I think he gives out Johnny Knoxville's phone number. He puts it on like
Isn't that somebody else's? Isn't that...
No,
it's Johnny Knoxville's
it's Johnny
phone
Knoxville,
number?
yeah.
And his phone wouldn't work. And he's
Yeah.
like, my phone won't even work.
Yeah. He got so many voicemails. Yeah.
I love... So many people were calling him at once and his phone just...
And then Johnny Knoxville steals his... Because he puts it on the... I want to say like a
little billboard.
Little billboard outside of a bar.
Yeah.
So then they go into the bar and then Johnny Knoxville steals his credit card and he puts everybody's tab in the bar on the credit card. And it's like... I think it's like 8,000. It's like not an insane amount, but it's fucking enough where you're like, what the fuck? No, maybe it's way more than that. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Fuck, that show is hilarious.
It's very funny.
It has its fucking moments, and now Bam's all fucked up.
I know.
Anyways, Viva La Bam, if none of you have heard of it, we're not going to talk about it anymore, but watch it.
I didn't really have much else to say about the Batman, so...
It's just about a bunch of fucking guys with too much money who are just stupid.
It's true. I actually listened to a podcast with one of them recently, Rap himself, and he was talking about how he's like, he's like, I don't think I was sober until I hit like 30. And they're like, really? Why? He's like, dude, I was on Viva La Bam. Literally, MTV once a week would just be like, here's $180,000 or whatever it was, how much to produce an episode. Go do whatever the fuck you want.
Okay, done.
And it was just like, well, we're getting fucking bombed. what do we do now? And it's like, and they just would destroy everything. And it's like, that's every episode is them like,
It's like that
what do we
scene when
do
he
now?
built a skate park around his house.
yeah.
And then
That's
Tony
an awesome.
Hawk is there, but it rained, so they had to do the tarps. The inside of his house is all fucking ramps. That was April's house. That wasn't his house. That wasn't the castle yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that show it has its moments. That show's funny.
That show's funny. Anyway, I'm done. You done? Anything else about Batman?
No, I think that's about it. We talked for a long time. I would give a few chunks of my life off in order to watch these for a first time again. I think these movies are absolutely incredible.
I think they're pretty good. There are some movies where I do hear you. Like, I wish I had amnesia sometimes so I could watch those movies the first time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, these movies are fantastic. I agree. I remember going to see this movie. I watched all 3 of these movies midnight showing. I remember. Like, the night...
I remember when they did that. Do they still do that?
They don't. It just so happens that it's a kind of a fucking downer way to end this, actually. But during the Dark Knight Rises in the United States, somebody shot up a theater.
Shut up.
Yeah, so the Dark Knight Rises was actually the last time they did it. So
How unfortunate.
yeah, he dressed up like the Joker, actually, and he fucking shot up a theater.
Even for Canada?
No, this was the United States.
I
Yeah,
know, but
yeah.
even for Canada,
Yeah,
shut it
good.
down, eh?
They made it so instead of the you know what they actually started doing though instead is 10 o'clock on Thursday instead of midnight.
Oh, so same thing.
So it's the same idea, but it's not as. There's something that was used to be really cool about waiting
It's
in line.
the day of
Yeah.
at
And
midnight.
it just so happened at the same time they like started doing the reserve your seat thing. That wasn't a thing back then. Back in the day, it was like first come first serve. So it was like we
You
got to
had to
be
be
there
there
at fucking
early.
like 9 and stand in line all day. Like get those fucking awesome seats. So
And then you had to save the seats for everybody.
fuck.
I remember all the coats and everything
I remember
all in the
that.
line. Now, I don't even show up until like 5 minutes. Or
Yeah. me
you
neither.
love credits, though. You love you love trailers.
I love being there for the
Yeah,
trailers.
see,
and
I don't
shit,
care
yeah.
for trailers. So I'm in line for popcorn when trailers are going.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't really care.
I like trailers. So I go see. There's a guy that I go see a lot of movies with, and I love the trailers and shit, and he loves the end credits. So it's like he won't leave until the end credits are done. It's like, oh, okay, so
Both of you are just one person.
yeah.
You're bromance.
Anyway, I'm done. You
Yeah, I'm
done?
done too. Yeah, these are 3 amazing movies. Thank you for listening to our fucking 2-hour episode.
Yeah, it was good though. Christopher Nolan did a fucking awesome trilogy. You know what? Let's do one more question. You know what? Let's bring this up just a little bit because that was a downer ending. If you could make say Christopher Nolan did a 4th movie, like would you be into it?
Yeah, I want fucking Robin.
with Robin? Like
Yeah.
that'd be cool, right?
And then have fucking Bruce Wayne as something else, but to have Catwoman involved
Yeah.
is something on top of that. So all 3 of them.
I'd even be into Bruce Wayne and Catwoman not being in it at all. Or you know what? I don't know. Maybe the
Like,
movie.
how did Catwoman know where Bane was, but Bruce Wayne didn't?
I'm assuming she just she was afraid of him. I know
So
that.
she was obviously terrified. She's met him before.
I think she was told to bring him. I don't know by who. It must have been Daggett. I
So
don't
it's like,
fucking know.
dude, I'm like, for her to know that, and she knows the ins and outs of the street. She's been poor. She's
Yeah.
also robbed the rich. She knows everything in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, like she'd be a good person to have on your side. But I see what you're saying.
I like the idea of Robin as like the main character, although the movie could be about Bruce Wayne coming home. Make it, you know what, honestly, here's a 4th movie. Alfred dies. Alfred dies and Bruce Wayne comes home to go to the funeral. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, hey, I've been Robin for the last couple of years. Like last 10 years, check it out. And Bruce Wayne maybe becomes the new Alfred or the new Lucius Fox or something. Maybe him and Anne Hathaway broke up or something. Or maybe she comes back too. I don't fucking know. That'd be a cool flick.
It
and
would be.
the 2 of them working together, like...
It would be. I don't know if they can now. I think Joseph is a little old now.
I don't think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's old.
Yeah, but you just said how young Robin was.
Oh, well, Robin...
Joseph and Christian Bale are pretty close in age, no?
I feel like...
You don't think so? Maybe like, what, 7 years?
Maybe 10-year difference? Yeah, not much.
So I feel like there needs to be more of a gap. And at the age Joseph was at the time, it would have worked out.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know what he looks like nowadays, Joseph. I haven't seen him in any movies lately.
I'm trying to think of the last movie I saw him in. He looks the same. He looks the same.
But like at 500 Days of Summer, he looks like
he's
a
young.
kid.
He's young, yeah.
In this movie, he looks like a kid to me. Like 29, 30, a kid.
Yeah.
Not what his age actually is. It's just 40.
Is it? Is he 40, you think?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I can Google it while we talk, though.
Let's check it out.
It'll take me 2 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion. I would love to see this done, though.
Mm-hmm. Also, we never talked about the exile. Death or exile?
Yeah, and then he's like,
we choose death. We choose death. All right, death. By exile.
By exile.
Like,
oh, he's so freaking cute. I love him. He's 10 years older than me, so 40.
Oh.
81.
So that's not that old. No, 81.
Yeah. I'm 90. So
yeah.
He's 40. He's 43.
Yeah.
Well, 42 because
you're just downplaying your age. That's what makes it funny.
Shut up. And then what is? Shut up.
He's 42.
He's 42. And Christian Bale is 6 years before that.
Okay, so he's 6 years older. So he's like 47, 48.
So there you go. They're pretty close in age.
Okay.
Which is what we said, I guess.
Yeah. I'm into it.
I see what you mean, though.
It'd be a cool flick. It'd be a cool flick. Like, because I don't think Bruce Wayne has to be like a fighter anymore. I think he could just come back and be like, listen, you know what I mean? Like,
I wonder how they're making money, though, because he's not a part of Wayne Industries anymore.
He must be, though.
Because how are they making money? Because she's nothing. She doesn't have a job. She's a nobody. I hope she doesn't have a fucking job.
Well, she's a thief, right? She's a master thief.
But I don't think...
She must have accumulated money in some way.
I don't think he would let her still be a thief, though. He has too much of the heart.
I'm assuming he left some money aside for himself. I don't know.
When he can't pay for his electricity, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe, okay.
We're out of here.
Because he has no house now, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. That's a good point. These are resourceful.
Oh, what about the Batcave? I guess it can't be attached.
What?
Because the house is gone.
The what? The house isn't gone, is it?
Well, it got donated to the orphanage.
Oh.
So the Batcave can't be underneath. And it can't be under the storage container because it was flooded. So where is the Batcave? But there's an elevator in the Batcave, and it goes down Alfred. That's how Alfred gets to it.
He must have to destroy it.
So it must be underneath the house. You just can't get to it.
Maybe.
You don't want no orphan to be like, hey, a waterfall. I'm like, what is this? And then it's a fucking Batcave with a fucking beetle fucking airplane and a motorcycle that the wheels are all fucked up. Like, how cool is that?
That's a good point.
I don't know. And all the outfits and stuff. Where are the outfits? Oh, all of his gadgets were in the... No, that's not the same under thing as the atomic bomb was in.
Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I don't know where. I know what you're talking about now. You're talking about that lit up room when they're walking out and all the lights are going off.
I feel like it's the same area. Because they show the outside of that area, and I feel like it's the same.
Fuck, we gotta watch that movie.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we're done. We're out.
Because you're right, though. Is it flooded? I don't know. Anyways. Bye. I have no fucking